that when you're looking at society today, you're going to look at society, and when you're looking at however you view the world, there are some things that are irking you. There's some things that you're looking at, you just like, I mean, they're irritating you, and you're trying to figure out, why do they irritate me so much right now? Now, I'm going to help you with this. There is a pre-alignment stage called apathy. I don't have that on the screen because that means you're somewhere over here. And in apathy, this is where you like, ain't nothing bothering me and I'm good. Everything's good in my life, and it's not even that everything's good, it's almost like you don't really care. You know, and you just in chill mode. When you're not in chill mode and you realize there's this and the things that are bothering you, then you slide into alignment. What's interesting about alignment is this: God will actually start stirring up your life in such a way that he'll bring things in your life, he'll bring people to your life, and he'll make things stick out to you that irritate you. He'll make things mess with you where you just say, I just can't sleep on that. That just ain't right. That's bothering me. And then you'll start saying things like, somebody needs to do something about that. This is when you're in this first phase, because God's now trying to align you and pull you back. He's saying, the reason why you don't like that is because I don't like that, and I want you to understand you're one of my people. So this is alignment. Then alignment forces us to deal with this idea of faith. Do we want to move forward with stuff? So when I figure out stuff is off, then I figure out something's got to change. So now the question is, do I want to be the one to change it? This is the tough part. Hey, this is wrong. Do I want to change it? No, I'm good. I don't feel like doing all that. So you get this little crack between alignment and faith is that point in which you have to deal with whether you're going to actually do anything, because you're trying to figure out, do I speak about it? Do I get into it? I use an analogy that I've been using several years. People who are close to me understand this analogy. They know it. I say, I don't carry around shovels. Why do you use the analogy? Because I say, anything I start digging up, any hole I dig up, I got to fill. So if I walk into your life and I be like, what's going on? How are things happening? And if I get in there too much, whatever I discover, then I got to fix. So sometimes I'm like, I don't want no shovel. Because if I'm in your life and I start getting shovels, that means that you're going to say, I'm glad you found that. Now I need you to fix it. So the time between alignment and faith is the time where you got to decide whether you want shovels in your hand or not. You got to ask yourself, if I don't like our system, if I'm worried about our youth, if I'm worried about our family, if I'm worried about our women, if I'm worried about our men, if I'm worried about our church and our society, the question that I got to ask myself is, do I really want to do something about it? Or do I want to just go, Oh, I always tell you, is the clarion call that means you're not going to do anything. So whenever you go, that don't make no sense. That is that moment where your brain says, just by saying that means you gave it a little bit of energy and you thought about it. Now go back home and sit down. So now, alignment moves us to faith. Faith means that am I going to move forward? And then faith, if I'm going to move forward, that means I got to deal with this idea of fear. Talk about fear. And if I'm going to deal with this idea of fear, that means that I've got to now change my whole mentality about me, about God, about the situation. So this means that I got to move from faith to this idea of where I let God start working on me and changing me. Now, once again, this little crack right here is a point at which you say, ooh, I want to do something about it, but now do I want God to change me so that I'll do something? Or do I want to sit back here and vacillate between and activity? Clear enough. And then we go, and once enough people go through this transformation process, then we go to this time where things get reformed. So now, I don't know where you are on this cycle, but everybody here is you're either in apathy, off the screen, alignment, where you're starting to line up with God, somewhere around apathy, alignment and faith, somewhere between faith and transformation, or transformation and reformation. Does that make sense? And so everybody here, I don't care who you are, woman of God, the reason why the women need help is because God is showing you, hey, I got a message I want to send to the women, and I need you to preach it. The men need help, man of God. Well, I got a message I want to talk to the men of God about. The young adults need help. There's a message I want to do that. Whenever God wants to send a message, he always picks a person. Making sense? Now, here's the deal. Most of you think that I'm the person. And you don't realize, somebody else say, yes, sir, yeah, we do. That's what, and remember, Ephesians 4, chapter 4, verses 11 through 16, says that my job is to equip you to do the work of ministry. So that means that when you see the issue, what you need me to do is just to equip you to do it. You're not coming to church to watch me do ministry. You're coming to church to be equipped to do ministry. Am I making sense? Making sense. So now, why is this important? Because a lot of people, when we talk about change, it's interesting because we say, wait a minute, is everything that's outside of God's principles, everything that's not churchy, is it bad? This is a really good question. If it's not all Jesus up, Dr. Moody, does that mean it's bad? Because does everything got to be all kingdom and Jesus up? I'm saying some things don't have Jesus and kingdom in them, but there's some good stuff. It's not bad stuff. Here's the thing. Whenever we have modern societies and this world, and we start developing it, and we develop it outside of God's principles, we generally get these issues that pop up. No matter how good and smart we want to be, I want you to understand, no matter what, if you got a PhD, a master's, if you got a Google education, if you got a YouTube degree, you graduated from the University of TikTok, I don't care where. There's opinions that you're getting, and they're going in your head, right? Right, and here's the deal. So what's happening is, modern societies, one of the things that they do is they start, once we get outside of the Bible, we start just putting in our own moral values. This is why many of you and many of us start battling with, I know the Bible says that, but, and you start talking about moral relativism. That's it. My brain is like, that's not the right word. But it's the idea of looking at morality and saying, well, it's not really black and white. It's kind of gray. Because there are good people everywhere. And just because a person doesn't go to church doesn't make them not good. They're good people. They're kind. They're loving. They have the right to love who they want to love and act how they want to act, and none of that makes them bad. See, look, it got quiet in here. And can you imagine? It's interesting because you come to a Bible-believing, teaching church, but you have different moral views than the Bible. And we don't ever want to face and talk about that and the impact of that. Am I making sense? And just because you got a loved one and a friend who's a good person doesn't make them a God person. And just because, and if they're not a God person, here's our problem. In our theological vantage point, if they're not a God person, what team are they on?
Good question. Good question.
Now, okay. So that means in your mind, you're creating another team. So you got God's side, you got the devil's side, and then you got this little spot kind of in the middle. Am I making sense? And see that crack right there. And so now could you imagine now that you read the Bible and the Bible's like, this is the truth, these are the principles. But you say, yeah, but God, those are your principles, God. But I got a third tier. And that what we do is we create that third tier. Now, so any modern society outside of God's principles, what happens is you've got to redefine morality. And you just start replacing them with whatever secular standards are most popular. Because the standards that were popular in the 70s are not the standards that are popular in the 80s, not the 90s. Does that make sense? And so now that means that if we keep this thing going, by the time it's year 2050, what standards are we going to have? Wow, it's quiet in here. So what is right? And if people have the right to be who they want to be, love who they want to love, and do what they want to do, where is there ever a line? Because the line today is one thing in your mind. But then the line tomorrow, can they marry the robot? Can they marry? Do they have the right to marry their AI friend? What age is the age of accountability? 18, 14, 12, 8. So if he is 32 and she's 8, wait, because we just saying that there's a gray area. And he good people. He taught her how to ride a bike. He taught her to read. So can he teach her everything else? See, when we create gray areas, remember there's no, so it's a whole lot that, and when you get in there, you in there. All right, so now, I'm just letting you know that when we start doing things outside of God's principles, everything gets redefined. And then what happens is our ethics and our morality, everything starts to decline. Why? Because even if you look at one of the big issues that everybody's having right now, even in terms of government, right now we're having problems because we're saying what rights and where does government, the power of government, where should it be stopped? Where's it end? And our biggest challenge is some are saying it doesn't end there. And we can take it over here and over here. And some of us are arguing back, wait. Government stays here. You don't get to go over there. And government is subject to law. But some people say it's not. I want you to understand that. So wait a minute. So here's the deal. So from a Democratic side, we're gonna be morally we're gonna be morally fluid. From a Republican nationalistic, Christian nationalistic side, we're going to be governmentally fluid. See? So now, which one? Y'all like, dang, Dr. Moody, I didn't want to go here. But I want you to think about it, because we get to a point where, listen, ethics, if morality becomes fluid, then ethics become fluid. What does it mean to have integrity? What does it mean to be moral? What does it mean to be ethical? Where is right? Where is justice a thing or not? So when we get fluid, everything gets liquid. Clear enough? Clear enough. And so as everything gets liquid and everything gets fluid, then the question is then, who gets to define what is right and wrong? So now somebody got to be God. But the question is, who? The God of the Bible? The God of your feelings? The God of your mind? The God of your passion? Am I making sense? Because the God of my passion is different than the God of my mind. Because there's something logically I say, nah, Moody, we ain't doing that. Right? My intellect said, nah, we ain't going to do that. But then my passion said, oh, yeah, we're doing that. And sometimes your passion, your passion will shame your intellect. And you be like, whoa, I surprised myself on that one. I didn't even know I could go there. Now, so what happens is this. As we place our trust in other things, then what happens? Money, pleasure, and success become the things that become the thing that drive us. So this happens. And then, so as we become morally fluid, we become ethically fluid, then we start developing other gods. And then now what happens is, because now life really becomes, ultimately the God really becomes us. Because it's really, at the end of the day, it's what I want. At the end of the day, it becomes what I like, what I want. And then when what I want starts driving me, then what happens is now I say forget the people who are not like me. Forget the people who don't have the means to do what I do. So elderly, too bad for you. Disabled, too bad for you. You shouldn't have been born disabled. Elderly, you shouldn't have lived that long. Sick, you just got a bad roll of the dice. I'm so sorry. Too bad for you. And then the issue, even with the issue of being the children, it's do I have the right to be born? And do I have the right, then if I'm born, do I have the right to live? So some are arguing that you got the right to be born. And then some are saying, but if you let them be born, are you going to put in all these laws and say they can't live? I heard Tony Evans say this once. He said, when you look at the idea of the question of birth and the question of abortion versus rights and justice, he said it's like looking at whole life insurance versus short-term insurance. He says short-term insurance say, well, it's cheap, but we're going to give it to you for 20 years. Whole life insurance is very expensive, but they say now once you get in, you're in for whole life. And so many times, many arguments that we're arguing, well, I'm making y'all think this morning. Y'all said, we didn't really want to think like this Moody. Why is this important?
Thank you for worshiping with us today. If you liked this message, you can find the rest at cmllcstore.com. We invite you to join us again for our extraordinary worship services every Sunday at 10:30 a.m., Sundays at 4 p.m., and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central, where Dr. Moody teaches how to understand the Bible, and you can get all your biblical questions answered. We look forward to connecting with you. We ask that you subscribe to the R.O.C.K ATX on YouTube and follow the R.O.C.K ATX on Facebook and Instagram to stay connected to all the R.O.C.K is doing. You can also get connected on our website at therockatx.org. Again, thank you for worshiping with us, and be blessed.